we've got 15 of the most upvoted r/am I the a-hole Reddit stories for March of 2025. As you guys know, this is a series I do on my channel at the beginning of every month, just collecting the best stories chosen by Reddit and putting them into one video. If you're familiar with this series on my channel, it does include a lot of repeat stories, but I did not make that many Am I the a-hole videos last month, and because of that, 12 of the 15 stories in this video are brand spanking new. So I'm basically coming out with a brand new video for you guys, plus 3 repeated stories. As always, everything is timestamped below, so feel free to skip around to the stories you want to listen to. Later this week, I'm going to be dropping 15 most upvoted for Am I the Devil, as well as best of Redditor updates, so keep your eye out for that. But without further ado, let's lock in here and judge some a-holes. Am I the a-hole for calling off my wedding after my fiance bought a house with his mom? Advice needed. Okay, so me, 28 female, and my fiance, 30 male, have been together for 5 years. We were planning our wedding for this fall and had been talking for years about our future, like kids, finances, and buying a house together. We had a whole plan to save up, find something we both loved, and make it our home. This was talked about a lot. Well, turns out he already bought a house, but not with me, with his mom. And he didn't even tell me he was looking. Apparently she found the perfect place and convinced him to split it with her because she didn't want to rent anymore. So now instead of us planning our future together, he's financially tied to his mother, who's going to be living there full time. I just stared at him like, what the fuck? And when I asked where I fit into all this, he goes, oh, well, you can just move in too, of course. Like I'm supposed to be thrilled to live in a house his mom picked out, partially owns, and is just there all the time. He also admitted he did it because I was taking too long to save, and his mom offered him a faster way to own something. I was so shocked and pissed. I told him I needed space, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized I can't marry someone who thinks this is normal. So I called off the wedding, and now his whole family is blowing up my phone saying I'm being dramatic, that it's just a house, and that I'm overreacting because we can still live together. Even my own parents are saying canceling the whole wedding is extreme. Like, am I losing my mind? Am I the a-hole, or is this a giant red flag? Okay, here's the thing is I understand that sometimes there are circumstances where your parent has to come live with you. That being said, it is major red flag, major big no-no that he felt the need to do this without consulting his future wife, without talking to her and being like, hey, my mom doesn't want to rent anymore. Could we open up the conversation of getting a house with her and she comes and lives with us? That's how a healthy relationship works. Also, I think it's a giant red flag that he not only didn't bring this up with her, but also, hey bro, if you're really concerned about her taking too long to save, why didn't you include her into the purchase of this house? Now you have not only your income and your soon-to-be wife's income, but now your mom's income. Like, I don't understand why that couldn't have been a trifecta. Why did you have to alienate her? Oh, it's because you wanted to go behind her back and try to bully her into doing this. Yeah, you don't want to marry somebody like that. You don't want to marry someone who's going to go behind your back, do big things without consulting you, and then try to make it your fault when you get upset about them doing something behind your back. I don't think they're going over the top. I think this is much needed, much merited. Am I the a-hole for taking my brother-in-law to small claims court for a prank? I recently took my brother-in-law to small claims court over a prank he pulled on me, and now my wife and her family are furious. I need to know if I'm in the wrong here. A few months ago, we were at a family barbecue, and I had a few too many beers and fell asleep in a hammock with my shirt off. My brother-in-law, who is completely sober, thought it would be hilarious to fill my belly button with super glue. At some point, I must have touched it because when I woke up, I had glue partially dried in my belly button and on my finger. We tried to remove it, but it was stuck. Yeah, because it's fucking super glue. That's crazy. Doesn't super glue rip skin off, chat? Yeah, it literally rips skin off. That's actually like harming someone. That's not a fucking prank. We tried to remove it, but it was stuck. The glue had adhered to my skin, and when we attempted to peel it off, it caused some tearing around the edges. Unfortunately, my job's insurance has an $1,000 ER copay, but I had no choice. I had to go to the ER. They used a solvent and an ointment to remove the glue, and after everything, I was left with a medical bill of $2,253. I asked my brother-in-law to cover the cost since he caused the situation. He refused. After trying to resolve it privately, I took him to small claims court, and I won. However, he still hasn't paid. This has caused a major rift in my family. My wife is upset, and her family thinks I overreacted. So am I the a-hole for taking him to court over this? Dude, you're married to the wrong woman. If not only her, but her family are on this brother's side, you should just cut your losses and leave. I hope there are no kids in this situation, because, like, at no point should you grow up thinking this is okay. $2,200 in medical bills, and you don't feel bad for your stupid as fuck prank? If I'm OP, I'm going over to his house, breaking some shit of his worth $2,000 and being like, it was a prank, haha. Edit more info and update. The reason my wife was upset is because her brother was going through a divorce and between jobs. Everyone knew he did it. He even admitted it. He blames his ADHD. I don't want to garnish his pay. The reason I didn't try more to clean the glue off me was because I have scars in my navel from a gallbladder surgery about 3 years ago. Maybe I'm ignorant about ADHD, but I just don't see how ADHD can justify sticking super glue in someone's belly button. I don't think that's a good excuse at all. My mother-in-law has offered to pay the bill, but she is on a fixed income and I will feel like an ass for taking her money. Of course, I'm the villain and only my sister-in-law is on speaking terms with me. My wife is only barely on my side. It was her that took me to the ER. Not thinking it would cost that much. I figured blood is thicker than water. I didn't expect this thread to blow up. I mean, dude, unless people actually are mad at this brother-in-law, he's gonna pull shit like this again. Not only is this like a, hey, he fucked up and owes you money, but also you should not hang out with this guy ever again. And further, you shouldn't hang out with him because his family refuses to hold him accountable for it. Not the a-hole. Very easy. Am I the a-hole for not tipping because my waiter didn't wait on me? I went to a sit-down restaurant last night and my waiter, let's call him Brad, took my order and then disappeared. Didn't check in, didn't refill my drink, didn't even bring my food. Some random food runner did. Then when the check came, Brad magically reappeared, circled the suggested tip, and gave me a big smile like we'd been through something together. My guy, what am I tipping for? You didn't wait on me. You just took my order and vanished like a part-time magician. So I left no tip. Now my friends are calling me an a-hole because that's just how restaurants work. I very much trust my judgment as somebody who's very generous with tips. As long as OP's telling the truth, bro did not deserve a tip. And the friends shouldn't be blaming OP for that's how restaurants work. They should be blaming the American restaurant system. I still think it's so stupid that like tips are even a thing over here. Hey restaurants, why don't we just pay fair wages to your workers? Me personally, bro. Like here's the thing, if we're gonna have tip culture, then let's make sure that you earn the tip. And like this is coming from somebody where all you need to do is fill my fucking water when it gets empty. That's all I care about. I'm super respectful to waiters, waitresses. They usually work extremely hard. But like if you have a bad one, I don't think it's like, oh, you should just give it to them because that's how it works. It is his job to wait. He didn't. I love wait staff. I've been there, but you have to try. That's how I feel. I'm bare minimum wait staff. Like I don't need you to be friendly to me. I don't need you to like make me laugh. I just want you to fill up my water, take my order, ask me if everything's okay just in case something isn't, and boom, you get a 20% tip easy. I think that's the baseline. If you can't meet the baseline, that's on you. Wait until OP finds out that the waiter also didn't cook the food and that chef's exist. I mean, listen, like, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like there are other parts to it. If you want to take that up with anybody, chat, you got to take it up with like the restaurant system in America. If you walk in and you're expected to tip, I'm a firm believer of like that tip kind of needs to be earned. In my opinion, that should be then the chefs and the cooks identify that this guy fucking sucks at his job and either ask the managers to fire him or tell him he needs to do a better job. I get it. The tip culture sucks, but that shouldn't be completely on the customer to make up for that. There's got to be a meet in the middle. Am I the a-hole for not accepting a dozen roses from my husband after my surgery? I had to have a lumpectomy on one of my breasts due to cancer. My husband took me to the hospital for the procedure and left to go run errands. I had never had this procedure done before, and finding out I had cancer was a scary thing. He said he'd be right back while they were prepping me for surgery. Once I was ready and waiting to go into surgery, the nurse asked if I wanted my husband to come sit with me until it was time to go in. I said yes, but she came back and said she couldn't find him. I sat in the room by myself for an hour and he still didn't show. I went into surgery without any reassurance from him. No kiss on the cheek with an I love you or everything will be okay. It was such a lonely feeling and I was wishing that I had brought my mom with me instead. The procedure was done within an hour and I was in the recovery room. Once my anesthesia wore off, I was awake and realized my husband still had not returned. At this point, I was getting really worried. The nurse said he wasn't answering his phone and she seemed irritated that he wasn't there. The nurse went on to give me post-surgery directions, which I was only half listening to because I was still kind of out of it. Plus, with my increasing worry of where the hell my husband was. The nurse comes in after a half hour and says, "Sweetie, we are still trying to call him, but if he doesn't get here soon, you won't be able to leave. There's a big storm coming in and this wing will be on lockdown until the storm passes." I could feel the tears welling up in my eyes. I just wanted to go home. 10 more minutes go by and he waltzes in with a dozen roses like he was the most thoughtful husband ever. When I asked where he was, he told me he was at the bar because he was hungry for one of their delicious burgers. This is like fucked up of me, and I just want you guys to know that I recognize that. The first thing in my head, because there's another Reddit story similar to this where the husband literally left his wife before her surgery to go cheat on her. And the first thing that popped in my mind was like, it's almost, I don't want to say better, but it makes more sense that you're cheating on your wife than going and getting a fucking burger over her surgery. Like, huh? To me, sex makes more sense than a fucking burger. Oh my God. Like, I almost want him to be lying, you know? Because then it makes more sense. Then the puzzle pieces fit together. I think if someone told me this, I would go ballistic. I'd be like, you skipped out on supporting me through a really serious surgery for a fucking burger. You should have just cheated on me, because either way, we're getting a fucking divorce. I told him that I'd been waiting alone throughout the whole ordeal and that he should have been there for me. He said he was sorry and held out the roses. I told him he could take the roses and shove it, and that I was never having him come with me during a medical procedure ever again because he sucked. I was getting part of my breast removed while he had a tasty burger and a beer? What the hell? Tears streamed down my face the entire ride home. I almost don't believe him. No fucking way there's a man out there that's dumb enough to leave their wife for a burger. I refuse to believe it. Either he's capping or he was dropped on his head way too many times. Did the burger have pickles? That's actually a very extremely important question. If it had pickles, I get it. I want to read the update, bro. I want everyone to know that this post was an event that happened to me in 2010. Next time I will write that initially to avoid confusion. I chose to write this in Am I the A-hole? Because when this did happen, my husband made it seem like I was the ungrateful one for not appreciating his thoughtful gesture. Even though many years have gone by, I thought it would be interesting to get feedback on this event in my life. So for those who thought it was a fake story, it's not. So yes, 15 years have gone by, and for those who I haven't responded to, I am getting divorced now. Other life events took precedence to getting a divorce soon after this had happened, and in 2010, I wasn't ready to make that decision. I found out that he was a drug addict, and I tried to help him in his recovery. All right, see, that makes way more sense than a fucking burger. We had kids, and I still loved him then. He was also sober for about 6 years. At least that is what I think was true, and I thought things were going to be okay. So much happened in that time from 2017 to now that I'm going to have to post other stories on here. If you thought this story made him an a-hole, the other stories more than sealed the deal for divorce. I kicked him out and we have been separated for almost 3 years. Divorce will be final next month. I am happy to say that I am cancer-free, even though I had a second diagnosis with breast cancer in 2023, which is the reason the divorce isn't already a done deal. But now I am strong and ready to fight this last battle, as I call him my third and last cancerous tumor that needs to be removed from my life. I mean, not that it's a good thing that your husband's a drug addict, but at least there's a better explanation than I bailed on you for a fucking burger. Like, yeah, makes sense he's a drug addict. Got a period on my boyfriend's mattress, and now he won't talk to me anymore. I, 24 female, woke up this morning and got my period a week early. I had spotting yesterday, but chalked it up to missing a birth control pill and went to bed without a tampon/pad. I was sleeping with my boyfriend, 23 male, at his apartment. His mattress and sheets are stained, and I'm working to get them out. He is mad and hasn't talked to me for a few hours, saying that he doesn't believe the stain will come out. I obviously feel bad, but there's no way I could have predicted this, and as a woman, this feels like it's pretty low stakes. Am I the a-hole? Does my boyfriend have the right to be mad? Okay, granted, I know there's such thing as like silk sheets and nice sheets, but I highly doubt a 23 male guy has sheets worth complaining that there's a stain on them. And also, even if you did have nice sheets, A, you should only get them if you can afford to replace them easily, and B, bro, she bled from her cooter, which is something that you cannot predict when that's gonna happen. Grow the fuck up. That would be such an ick to me, bro. Like, how are you that much of a man-child that you don't know, like, hey, bro, this is what happens. All you have to do, soak it in hydrogen peroxide and then throw it in the washing machine on hot. It's literally that easy. Or if you can't get the stain out, just fucking buy new sheets. Like, why do we gotta be a little bitch about it? I don't know what guy needs to hear this, but PSA, don't be a little bitch. I am a 21 male. And I think I cheated and messed up big time. Advice needed. For 2 years, I have always been loyal, never looked at anyone else, never even thought of doing something like this. But something happened. And as I write this, My hands are literally shaking. I don't know how to process. A couple of days back, I went to my barber shop. My regular guy, the one who's been cutting my hair for the past 2 years, wasn't around. He was a little away, busy with something. Oh my God, is this? No fucking way this is where this is going. He was a little away, busy with something. Another guy waved at me and said, "Come sit." I should have waited. I should have given it a second thought, but I didn't. Without thinking, I sat down. He started cutting my hair. 10 minutes later, my guy walked in. We had a crazy eye contact moment. I could see it in his face, the disappointment, the betrayal. I don't know. Chat, bro fucking clickbaited the fuck out of us, man. That's it. I just got bamboozled. Did bro just rickroll me? Did I just get rickrolled by a whole ass Reddit post? I'm fucking pissed. You know what? Yeah, you are the a-hole. Fuck you. You knew what you were doing. You knew exactly what you were doing. Who is this? His @ is fucking full coconut. Full coconut? Fuck you, man. What an asshole. You're a bad person. And you did cheat on your barber. That genuinely ruined my fucking day. You know what, guys? I'm retiring. I'm never making another YouTube video again. And you guys can blame full coconut on Reddit. No, I'm just playing, guys. I'm not gonna quit. I'm just being a little dramatic, okay? Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit my sister's kids after she embarrassed me at a family dinner? So I, 17 female, have an older sister, Lisa, 27 female, who has 3 kids, 6 male, 4 female, and 2 female. She's always asking me to babysit for free, and I usually do it because I love my nieces and nephew. But lately, I feel like she's been taking advantage of me. Last week, we had a big family dinner at my parents' house. Everything was fine until my mom jokingly mentioned how I've been focused on school a lot lately. And Lisa goes, "Yeah, because she doesn't have a life otherwise. No boyfriend, no social life, just stuck at home doing math." Well, sorry, she's not pumping babies out of her vagine like a fucking factory. Dude, fuck her. Not the a-hole. That's all I needed to hear, bro. I laughed it off at first, but she kept going, making jokes about how I'm basically a live-in nanny and how she's doing me a favor by giving me something to do. The whole table was laughing, and I was sitting there embarrassed as hell. My dad even said, "Lisa, that's enough," but she shrugged it off. I was so mad that I decided right then and there that I was done. The next time she texted me, "Hey, can you watch the kids Saturday?" I just replied, "No, I'm busy." She asked me with what, and I said, "Finding a life." Damn! The clap back, bro. OP put her whole dick on the table. Now she's furious, saying I'm being childish and punishing her kids over a joke. Even my mom is saying I should be the bigger person, but I feel like if I don't set a boundary now, she'll keep walking all over me. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, I mean, easy, not the a-hole. I think with family situations around helping family members take care of their kids, you really need to set up a boundary. I was dating this girl like a year ago who like, she had a terrible boundary around taking care of her sister's kid, and it like pissed her off, but I was like, dude, you've never like told your sister no. Like, she just expects you to drop everything. Like, that's not a healthy relationship. Don't get me wrong. I think you should be there for your family and help them out when it makes sense, but like, especially when they disrespect you this fucking hard, absolutely not, bro. That is insane activity. She's 17 years old too, which is sad. Like, the parents should be helping her set the boundary, not fucking make fun of her. I mean, shout out the dad for trying, but he literally tried his least. He literally could have not given less effort. For like young people who pump out kids and have that whole "it takes a village" mentality, like, don't get me wrong, yeah, but like, you shouldn't expect that. If you decide to have a kid, whether you're a dude or a girl, that is your fucking kid. If someone wants to be generous and help you, great, but you can't expect to just hawk your fucking kid off on them whenever you feel like it. Am I the a-hole if I divorce my husband for not wiping his butt? Yep, this is pretty much the title. My husband recently started saying that he is not going to wipe his butt anymore after using the restroom. He got it into his head that alpha males do not wipe, therefore he is no longer doing it. He has been for the past 2 days walking around everywhere we go, telling guys alphas don't wipe. He is very serious about not wiping, and he is not listening to reasoning. I don't know what to do, and I fear that this might be the start to the end of our marriage. How do I convince him to wipe? I'm praying that this is just a troll. This has to be 100% rage bait. It's really funny to think that it's not. And also a stupid enough demographic to believe it. I mean, not the a-hole. That's just unsanitary. So you're telling me bro is like getting into the same bed as you with like stinky butt crack? Ew, ew, stinky, stinky, ew, ew. That's what I'd be doing. And then I'd give him divorce papers. My cousin's ex would refuse to wipe or clean his ass because he thought it was gay to touch your butt like that. You know what's funny is he probably thinks it's gay because it feels really good for him. They're like, oh, I like that a little too much. My husband got me a vacuum for my 50th. I'm guessing that means 50th birthday. Turned 50 yesterday. Husband, 53 male, woke me up, told me he had a surprise for me downstairs. I go downstairs and see a vacuum, not even wrapped, mind you. He said he thought I'd like a new one since the current one doesn't have the ability to turn off the brush roller when using it on hard floors. I never asked for a new one. It works fine. That was my birthday. Not even a lunch or a dinner out. He mentioned a month ago about doing something special and going on a trip. I asked about that and he said he'd figured I'd tell him when and where I wanted to go. He never asked where, but did mention several times over the past month that he had a surprise for me. Apparently it was a fucking vacuum. We've been married for 17 years. Am I the a-hole for hoping or expecting that maybe he could have planned and surprised me with something, anything? Something more than an Amazon next day delivery vacuum. When he turned 50, I took him to Hawaii. Maybe I'm being hypersensitive. Turning 50 has been a hard number for me. Parents and grandparents all passed in that decade. Nah, dude, what the fuck is that? How are you so incompetent, dude? Like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but a woman's dream birthday gift, especially for something like a 50th birthday, is not a fucking vacuum. Let's put it on a PSA and send it to every man out there, because I'm sure there's a lot of them that need to fucking hear that one. Get her some nice jewelry, take her on a trip. Like, fuck, man. If she's taking you to Hawaii for your 50th, the least you can do is take her somewhere, anywhere, even if it's not a banger. At least you fucking tried. A fucking vacuum? Like, not only is that just disrespectful, but it's also a little misogynistic. I can't even lie. Let me make your life as a housewife and birth giver of our children, because that's all women are good for. Let me give you a fucking vacuum to make that better for you. Like, girl, just shoot him. Like, you know that John Mulaney bit where he's like, I understand why people kill other people. Exhibit A. Like, if her update is, update, I shot him, I'd be like, you go, girl. For all intents and purposes, YouTube, this is a joke. Should I add in Fortnite at the end there? Like, there is a quick edit, guys. Let me read the edit and we'll read your comments. Edit 1, thank you to the numerous people who reported my posts to Reddit crisis cares. Not necessary. And to the mean troll saying to get a life, no one cares, don't be a gold digger, or it's the thought that counts. I wish you nothing but success and prosperity and life peace. Edit 2 was just a clarification on the vacuum that he got her, which is, it's a Eureka Power Speed canister vacuum. Oh shit, well if it's the Eureka top-notch vacuum, all right, at least it's a good vacuum. Am I the a-hole for telling my boss that I wasn't invited to the party? I, 26 female, just started a new job. I quickly realized that one of my colleagues, Marie, is engaged and is getting married within the next 2 months. It seemed like the whole office was attending the wedding. I absolutely did not expect an invite. She just met me, weddings are planned in advance, venues booked, etc. My friend actually just got married, so I saw firsthand how it all worked. I could tell Marie wondered if I was expecting an invitation and was hesitant to bring up the wedding around me, but I just never made it a big deal. I don't feel left out in the slightest. Then I got CC'd onto an email from someone in the office, Joanne, throwing Marie a shower during our lunch hour in the break room in a couple of weeks. Joanne was sending out a collection so we could give a group gift, cash, to Marie. They also suggested we make it a potluck. Joanne included her Venmo and also asked me email back with what we planned on bringing. Even if I'm not going to the wedding, I still believe everyone deserves to be celebrated and Venmo'd the $20, as well as sent a reply saying I'd bring lasagna. A little later, I saw the $20 had been returned to my Venmo and Joanne approached my desk. She said I didn't need to contribute. I said even if I'm not attending the wedding, I'd still like to give Marie a little something. Joanne looked a little awkward and hemmed and hawed, but then eventually said, "You're not invited to the shower." I was confused. I said, "I can't go into the company break room on lunch hour?" She said, "Yes." I asked where I'm supposed to go. I don't drive. I take public transit to and from work. We don't really work near anywhere I could go to quickly for lunch hour. She said I could stay at my desk. I pointed out this was a little exclusionary. Joanne said Marie didn't want me to assume I was invited to the wedding. I said I don't at all. I completely understand I haven't worked here long and we're not close enough. I'm not hurt by that. She said that's great, but I still can't come. I asked if I had done anything to offend Marie and she said no. She just doesn't want me getting my hopes up. I finally let it go and just said fine, have a good party. The day of the shower, I sat at my desk during the party while everyone else went, eating my lunch alone. One kind person snuck me a piece of cake. Oh, wait, cute. This is just like made more difficult than it needs to be. And it's not OP's fault. Like, she keeps getting fucking shit kicked. Okay, if you didn't want her to go, you didn't need to CC them onto the email. If you did accidentally CC them on the email, just accept the fact like, hey, she wants to contribute to the wedding and bring them lasagna. Maybe have a conversation that's like, hey, just to be clear, like, I can't change my wedding venue to like accommodate you to the wedding. And like, sounds like OP would have been chill with it if you just had the hard convo. I'm wondering if Marie has beef with OP. Like, that's the only thing to me that makes sense. For them to like actively make this situation harder than it needs to be, I think there's some shit that they're being petty about. Halfway through the party, the big boss came in. She usually doesn't work on Fridays, so it was a surprise to see her. She saw me sitting at my desk and asked why I wasn't at the party. I told her I hadn't been invited. She was clearly perturbed by this. Later on, she sent an email out banning parties of any kind during work hours. A few people, Joanne and Marie included, realize I'm the one who told. They've now turned on me. Some friends say I'm in the wrong here, that I should have lied to the big boss and said I was busy with work to finish or something, so as to not ruin it for everyone else. I mean, looks like you didn't ask the big boss if you could host this party in the lunchroom and exclude other people from the lunchroom who weren't invited. I don't think OP's the a-hole. I think this whole group of people just sound like pieces of shit. Other than the person that brought OP the cake and the big boss. I too would be like, hey bro, if you're gonna host something in the middle of a workday during the lunch hour in the break room, invite everybody. I don't give a fuck if you're celebrating your lizard's birthday. Invite everybody. That makes sense to me. To exclude anybody is insane. Unnecessary as fuck. Am I the a-hole for making my coworker a separate meal after she insulted my cooking? I work in a small office where we do a potluck style lunch once a week. I love wow, y'all, making lunch for myself is a pain in the ass. I can't imagine having to make something for a bunch of people every single fucking week. That sounds exhausting, bro. Like, don't get me wrong, it's kind of cool, but like once a week? That's crazy. Once a month, I could see. I love cooking, so I usually bring something homemade. For context, I'm Thai, and a lot of what I make has strong flavors. Think garlic, fermented fish sauce, chili, shrimp paste, that kind of thing. Most of my coworkers love it. Kate, though, has always been weird about it. She's made little comments before like, wow, that's pungent, or your food is so intense. Once when I brought in som tam green papaya salad, she wrinkled her nose and said, ugh, why does it smell like that? Like it smells like lime and chili? Sorry, it's not a turkey sandwich, Kate. The worst was when she asked me if I grew up eating bugs. I kind of laughed it off because I was so caught off guard, but she kept going, talking about how she saw a documentary about Thai people eating crickets and how it must be normal for me. I told her as evenly as I could that yes, some people eat insects, but it's not like I was raised munching on tarantulas for breakfast. She got all flustered and said she didn't mean it like that. Why do white people, period, no exclamation point? Because like, let's be honest, chat, she did a racism. She in fact did mean it like that. Anyways, last month I made khao soy for the potluck, a northern Thai curry noodle soup. Everyone seemed to love it except Kate, who took one bite, made a face and said, oh, this is strong. Bitch, this is a potluck. Why do you keep getting the Thai food if you know that you don't like it? Like, it's not like you have to get everything at the potluck. You can be like, oh, hey, I usually don't like this guy's food. I'm just not gonna put it on my plate. It's literally that fucking easy to not be a problem. Then she laughed like it was a joke, but she barely touched her bowl. Later, I overheard her telling someone it was too much spice and too many smells at once. So a few weeks later, when it was my turn to cook again, I made my usual dish plus a plain grilled chicken breast with some steamed veggies and a little cup of ranch dressing. No seasoning, no strong smells, etc. I left a note for Kate since I know she prefers something simple. She was pissed. Said I was singling her out and making her look bad. What have you been doing to him this entire time? Singling him out and trying to make him look bad. Crazy to know how you've been making other people feel. I told her I was just trying to be accommodating the way she seemed to want. Some coworkers thought it was hilarious. Others said I was being passive aggressive. Honestly, maybe I was. Even if you were, you kind of deserve it because she is an asshole. I'm going with not the a-hole, bro. Did OP give ages? I'm guessing they're adults. If she's gonna whine this hard, if you're gonna fucking fucking act like a child, I'm gonna treat you like a child. And I think that's just what OP's doing, bro. Yeah, I'm going with not the a-hole. Honestly, y'all, I fucking love Thai food. I'd eat that shit to oblivion. Someone's making me Thai food every week. I am thanking them. I am on my knees worshiping them. Okay, that is a privilege to have homemade Thai food. Am I the a-hole for ignoring my wife for throwing away my late wife's videotapes? Original post was March 4th, 2025. I'm writing this because I don't know what to do. I have a daughter with my late wife and her name is Eleonora. Her birthday is coming up in 2 weeks and she's turning 18. Background, me and my late wife, Chloe, had been dating since college. We got older and ended up getting married, and after our wedding, she shared news to me that she was pregnant, and I was excited. We were expecting our first child. Since it was our first child, we bought a video camera and made little tapes and snippets of her whole pregnancy. Wholesome things such as us just joking around or having lunch or talking to our unborn child through the camera. We made a promise to only show Eleanor the tapes until her 18th birthday. Fast forward 2 years after her birth, Chloe passed away due to a drunk driver crashing into her car as she was coming home from her mother's house. I was devastated of her passing and went into a deep depression and having to raise our 2-year-old by myself. My friends tried to get me to go out again and start back dating, but every time I did, I felt like I was betraying her. Years later, when Eleanor was 13, I met Wendy. We met at a gathering for my sister's birthday and we instantly hit it off. She didn't mind that I had a daughter because she had 2 kids herself and just went through a divorce. 2 years after, we got married. Now back to the present. Eleanor's 18th birthday is coming up, and I kept all the tapes for me to show her. Mind you, her mother died when she was just 2, so Eleanor doesn't remember her touch or her voice. I was excited to show her the tapes, and a week ago, I was talking to Wendy about it, and I noticed her expression going from happy to looking a bit uncomfortable. Wendy would always get uncomfortable when I talk about my late wife. I don't say things like, why can't you be like Chloe? Or, Chloe was only supposed to be my first love. But I talk about her in a way to give my daughter a mental picture of how her mother was like. Wendy has always talked to me about Chloe and how it made her sad that she can never be like her. Chloe was a model, then started working on her fashion career. And don't get me wrong, she was a really beautiful woman, while Wendy had 2 kids in college and, in her words, is not in the best shape. I love both women how they are, and I've never had a preference, but I feel like Wendy is gaining some jealousy towards Chloe. I told Wendy that I love her just the way she was, and she broke down crying. The next day after that incident, she came up to me and apologized for the way she acted last night. I told her it was okay, and it's good that she felt comfortable to share her feelings, and I gave her a tight hug and a kiss on her forehead. She asked to see where the tapes were at, and I showed her the box of videotapes of my late wife in the closet. Things were going fine until yesterday morning. I was looking for the tapes because I wanted to put them in a prettier box for my daughter, and when I went to go find them, the box wasn't in my closet. I looked everywhere. I walked downstairs to see my wife laying on the couch watching TV. I asked her about the box and she told me she threw it away with a neutral expression. My heart dropped and I asked her what did she mean, and she told me that I talk about her too much and that I need to move on with my life, so she threw them away as a head start. I was fuming with anger because not only she threw away what I had left of her, she threw away my daughter's big surprise. We quickly got into an argument and she noticed how angry I was, so she started apologizing. I got to the point I started crying and locked myself in our bedroom. Yeah, divorce immediately. That is just such like a shallow, heartless, evil fucking thing to do. Don't get me wrong, I could maybe see her being a little bit jealous, not to the point of throwing the tapes away, but jealous if he was like watching these tapes all the time or something, you know? But even then, like I've always said, if somebody's spouse dies and it doesn't like end on bad terms or anything like that, like you can never expect them to completely let go of that person. And if you can't handle that, you shouldn't get in a relationship with somebody who like still has feelings, and validly for somebody that got taken away from them too early. You should have respect for that person. And this is probably the most disrespectful fucking thing that she could have done. It's the morning and I'm writing this in my office, going through my computer, finding old files or any type of video of my late wife to give it to my daughter, because sometimes my daughter still cries that she never got to meet her mother, and I really thought it would bring her closer to her. I've been ignoring my wife for the past day, and she's been texting me nonstop about how sorry she is, but I really just can't look at her right now. It's getting to the point our mutual friends are texting me to accept her apology and get over it, since Chloe died over 10 years ago, but I'm trying to ignore them all because they never had someone so close to them die. I'm working on finding these files and I'm starting to think I was overreacting. I don't know what to do and I really need help. I mean, get those divorce paper rollings for starters. I wouldn't want this woman anywhere near my daughter. Odds are she probably has a crazy stepmommy complex with OP's daughter anyways. Yeah, at the bottom here it says, am I the a-hole? Has no consensus bot, but OOP was not the a-hole. Very, very easily. Hold on, guys. Let me read these relevant comments and then I'll pull up your guys' comments. So relevant comments, commenter 1, your nosy friends can F right off. What your current wife, soon to be ex, I hope, did was despicable. OOP, not really my friends, but 2 of my wife's best friends that I'm cool with. I see why they are the first to text me knowing my wife probably said something to them. Okay, that's actually a relief. At least it's not good friends of yours. A downvoted commenter said, why the hell would you wait until your daughter turned 18 though? You're the a-hole for that. I mean, before I read that, didn't he say at the beginning that they promised they wouldn't show it until later or something like that? OOP, like I said in the post, me and my late wife made those videotapes only because we saw people doing it and showing it to their child on their 18th birthday. Mostly because the child is almost an adult or is moving out. We both didn't know she would pass away or this would be an outcome, so I stayed by her wish. Yeah, I mean, if there's any time that you could break that, it would be because your wife died. But I also understand being like, hey, we made this promise together. The least I can do after she died is stick to that promise. If you're gonna be insecure about the woman who fucking died, and that if like she was still there, you probably wouldn't be in the picture, you shouldn't even get married to that person. It's totally understandable that that person wouldn't be completely over it, because if that person was still on this planet, you guys probably wouldn't be together. Like, if anything, I feel like that deserves more respect, because it's like, hey, I wouldn't have this opportunity to love this person if that hadn't happened to you. Small update, March 5th, 2025, the next day. I was thinking about asking Wendy about the tapes and where she threw them out at, but I saw a comment that told me to not ask her because it might give her some time to hide it or lie. Instead, when I went back home, I checked in the outside trash cans and the kitchen one, and I still couldn't find them. Trash day isn't until Thursday, so I was confused. I finally went up to ask her, and at first she wasn't going to tell me. I threatened with divorce like one of you guys said, and she gave in. It turned out she kept the videotapes in her car until trash day arrived because she knew I would look through the trash. So now I have the tapes, thank God. Another question asked was, did Eleanor know about the tapes? No. I didn't want to ruin the surprise until if I knew that I had a backup. She didn't know about them until now, and I'm not planning on telling her until her birthday. The only problem is that I'm afraid that Wendy might tell her. One more question is people asking if I'm considering divorce. Wendy never did anything like this before, and I don't want to ruin a 6-year relationship. I don't think you're the one that ruined this 6-year relationship. She already did ruin the relationship by literally going behind your back, throwing out something that not only meant a lot to you, but to your daughter. If you can't step up for yourself and like put your foot down over her disrespecting you, you gotta do it for your daughter. This was disrespectful as fuck to your daughter as much as it was disrespectful to you. I would literally never trust anyone again who tried to pull some shit like this. But at the same time, I really do think she needs some type of help. I'm considering asking her to go to therapy, and I'm really considering our relationship. Wendy is really good with my daughter. My daughter loves her and her children like family. I think Wendy is just trying to take Chloe's place with being Eleanor's mother. I'm really starting to think she has issues. A lot of people also said if I don't divorce her, I will betray my daughter. I'm fucking saying that. My daughter is my number one, and I think I should find someone better that can respect not only me, but my daughter and her mother. I think that's some good intuition, OP. Should definitely do that. Okay, a top comment here. Very glad you got the tapes back. The fact that she knew you'd go through the trash and thus kept them in the car. That's as smoking gun as it gets. That shows that she knew she was overstepping a boundary and you wouldn't be okay with it. It shows she knew you'd be upset and would want the tapes back. And she only gave in when she realized she was about to get divorced. Every part of this is 100% selfish on her part. She's happy to cause you and potentially Eleanor lots of pain to satisfy her jealousy. As internet people, we only see what you tell us. That's why Reddit always tells people to break up at the sign of every problem, because we don't see the good times. We only see the problem that an OP describes. But even with that in mind, I think you need to have a serious hard think about your marriage and how much, if any, trust you have in this woman. She is willing to destroy a personal message for your daughter from her dead mom out of jealousy. That's not a little jealous territory. That's serious violation of trust. She tried to destroy something that was truly irreplaceable, a memory of Chloe. She tried to seriously betray your trust and your daughter's. My suggestion is to tell her that she needs to stay somewhere else until you decide what, if any, future the marriage holds. Tell her that the only reason you've had any sort of decision to make is because she gave the tapes back. If the tapes had been lost, you would be divorcing her without a question or hesitation. In your family, you don't destroy each other's stuff out of jealousy, especially something irreplaceable like a message from a dead mother. That is the action of a jealous and bitter narcissist, and not a loving wife and stepmother. So you need space from her while you decide what, if any, future you and her have together. In that time, you should strongly encourage her to get some personal therapy to deal with her apparent extreme jealousy of a dead woman. I'd also suggest you should tell your daughter everything. Tell her about the tapes and tell her that your wife tried to throw them away. Tell her that your wife was going to take them to the trash and only gave them back when you threatened divorce. Tell her that your trust was broken, that you are considering divorce, and if she doesn't want to see Wendy anymore, you'd understand and won't force her to. Tell her you still love Wendy, but you're not sure if the Wendy you love truly exists, because the Wendy you love would never do such an awful thing, especially to Eleanor. Edit, also forgot the when she turns 18 thing. Eleanor, I think, needs to see those tapes now. 17 is close enough. She's a young adult, whether she hit the magic number or not. Yeah, like I said, guys, I think the circumstances definitely change a little bit. Just the fact that the mom died. Like, I totally understand keeping the promise, but like, if you have no other videos of the mother and this daughter has like trauma around not knowing what her mother sounded like or what she was like, I do think it's like, hey, let's maybe be a little bit more lenient on the promise. But I get it. I understand where OP's coming from. Like, I'm not gonna berate him for that. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that I'm ending our marriage because I found her brother at our house again and said it in front of him? Advice needed. I'm male 38, left my wife, Kelly, female 38 today. 5 years together, 4 married. I have battled her lack of boundaries about her family for the past 2 years. I understand that they are very close-knit, but she never paid attention to how their dynamics affected our relationship. I experienced every r/just no family situation. My food was eaten, showed up uninvited, meddling. You name it. 9 months ago, mother-in-law and father-in-law began divorce proceedings. He cheated, fell madly in love with a side chick with whom he's lived with for the past 15 years, and he decided that he wants to get remarried. He kicked everyone out of the house. It was an emergency, so I agreed to help out. I so fucking regret it. I had to take 4 people in, but they couldn't think to avoid constantly pissing me off. I got sick of finding them using our private bathroom. They had complete access to the other full bathroom by the hallway. Sister-in-law started taking naps on our bed, which is creepy because a bed is too personal. I came home late and we had to wake her up and still waited for her to snap out of her groggy state so that she could walk out. It lasted for 3 months, but the problems persisted. No matter how many times I told my wife and even told them, they still showed up at random hours, even if I didn't run into them. I know she was allowing them to come over. I hated their presence. They would eat my snacks and get on my expensive recliner chair, which again, they didn't contribute a penny for. I had a mini orchard that they picked empty. Things got so tense that I blew at her in front of them. They left, we had a fight, and I ended up sleeping in a hotel. I warned her many times about being fed up and needing her to support me. She acted like I was demanding that she abandon her family. Am I a dickhead, or are some of these like not as big of a deal as he's making them out to be? Am I just a dickhead? Am I the asshole here? Like, don't get me wrong. I also don't think the family is right here. And there definitely needs to be boundaries set up, but like, oh, wee woo, they sat in your expensive recliner chair. Like, it's a fucking chair. That's why you bought it. I don't know. Let me look at, wait, hold on. Let me look at chat. Are you guys on the same page as me? Yes, no, 100%. Boundaries are important and wife is not receptive to them. I agree with that. The wife sucks. I think the family sucks. Don't get me wrong. I think there are genuine concerns and these guys are genuinely not respecting his boundaries, but I want a nuclear example. If you're going to be ending your marriage over this, I don't know. I guess the little things can all add up, but for me, the bed is creepy, but also it's not the end of the world. I feel like I kind of just let anyone lay in my bed. Like, yeah, I guess intimate shit happens in there, but like clean your fucking sheets and it's fine. I don't know. Maybe I just don't need that boundary and he does. The chair one's a little ridiculous. They are coming in whenever they want. I don't agree with that. The orchard one is probably a little bit of a dickhead. I can't lie. Even the private bathroom one is like, unless you're in there using the private bathroom yourself and you need it, like if there are that many people in this house, like isn't it kind of expected that 4 people using one bathroom might turn into overflow? I don't know. Let me finish it because maybe something new is gonna pop up. I'm not sold is what I'm trying to say. Today I came home to find her brother's car blocking the entrance, not on the side, not even on the driveway, just right in the middle where my only option would be to get on the lawn. I go inside and he's laying with his shoes on the couch. He gave me this fresh smile like he's untouchable. I went to our room and packed as many of my belongings as possible and ignored her pleas to talk. There's nothing else to talk about. I already called a few lawyers and haven't received any replies yet. She cried, but at this point, I have no empathy. I don't even know if I overreacted or if I needed to discuss this in private. I feel defeated and angry, and I also hate her family with my soul. They knew they were hurting our relationship and they didn't care. She knew that I'm a private person who hates being invaded. I helped them because I love her, and I didn't have the balls to let them go to sleep in their car. We don't have kids, but there are so many things that will be left undone. I loved her so much, but I just can't do this. She called me immediately after I left, and I told her that my decision is final. She sounded shaken, but I told her that right now I despise her and will never be able to sleep next to her again. Sorry for any typos. I have a migraine right now. I'm just coming here because I just wanted to ask if leaving the way that I did was an a-hole move, and maybe I should have announced my intention of ending our marriage after her brother was gone. No, I actually, listen, are some of the things he's getting upset about maybe a little questionable? To me, yes, but it sounds like he's been dealing with this for a while. There are a couple of things that are boundary worthy, and this just, honestly, a lot of it too is like, OP clearly feels a type of way, and whether or not some of those feelings are a little ridiculous doesn't actually really matter. Even though that was like something I was like, question mark. At the end of the day, it does sound like OP is going through some shit. The wife clearly does not give a shit, as well as the family doesn't. Not only are they not trying to work with OP, but they're actively throwing it in his face. Like, the brother smiling would piss me off. Now, would I probably just get his car towed and kick them all out? Yeah. I mean, if this is the love of my life, like I truly love my wife and want it to work out, kick everybody out, have a conversation while they're not there and be like, these are the boundaries. This is the set in stone. You break these, divorce. That's probably what I would have done, but I actually really don't blame OP. Towards the end, as I got there, I was like, I'm leaning more towards not the a-hole. I kind of understand it. I don't know if it's ridiculous, just that some people can't relate. Yeah, that's kind of what I felt like. I don't know. For me, I wouldn't let this happen. I don't blame OP, but like, do a better job enforcing your boundaries. Tell these people to get the fuck out. So, tessellated heart, it's the common case of not communicating feelings and then blowing up all of a sudden when the last straw happens. It does say that he did communicate his feelings. I want to give him that. But I think there's a difference between communicating and enforcing. Because you can communicate something, but do it in a kind of like, okay, like, you know, if you want to, this is how I feel, and like, this is, would it really help me, but like, only if you want to. And then there's like, hey, this is unacceptable. I see you again, you're out. You eat from my orchard, you're out. You sit in my recliner chair, you're out. And then also when that happens, boot, you're done. Figure out where you're gonna sleep. I don't give a fuck. And then your wife tries to go behind your back or whatever, like, you don't die on this hill with me, divorce. Guys, honestly, enforcing in this situation here would have been to have the brother's car towed. That's what I would have done. I would have saw that car blocking the driveway and I would have been smirking at the brother while the car is being towed away. Then you'd end up in your own Am I the A-hole story. I don't give a fuck, bro. Throw me in there. I don't give a shit. Y'all, I could probably have Am I the A-hole stories written about me, bro. Listen, y'all, I think sometimes being a dickhead is important. Honestly, when girls are like, oh, I'm being such a bitch now, a lot of the times I'm like, you should be a bitch. Even with dudes, there are some times where you need to be an asshole. I think it's important to know when it's time to be an asshole. Being able to choose when being an asshole is the move is such a good skill. Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my husband's coworker for embarrassing me and my husband? A few months ago, after many years of trying to conceive, my husband, 32 male, and I, 33 female, had a gorgeous, healthy baby boy. My husband and I are black, which is pertinent to this story. We were over the moon, and family and friends and coworkers had also been excited for us. Right after I delivered, my husband emailed a birth announcement with a photo of our son to everyone in his office. Fast forward a couple weeks, and my husband came home fuming after his first day back at work. One of his coworkers informed him that another guy in the office, a new young employee my husband barely knew, had been telling everyone willing to listen that my husband couldn't be our son's father because that baby is too light to be his and his hair is too long and straight. That's a white man's baby or an Asian's. This guy proceeded to tell everyone what a sucker my husband was and that his excitement over finally becoming a dad was blinding him to the reality that he had been cheated on and his wife impregnated by another man. Bro, who the fuck is this guy? Like, as a new employee, this is such a bold thing to start spreading around the fucking office, dude. Like, hey, let's be a little bit more political here. Let's play the corporate game better. I don't know who needs to hear this, but running around saying that your fellow employee's son couldn't possibly be his, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say not a great career move. Side note for anyone who's still unaware, in 2020, 2025, black babies in general are fairly pale as newborns, and their skin will darken over the first few weeks. Hair changes to a curlier pattern are usually gradual as well. Our son was no exception and is now my husband's mini-me. My husband said he had immediately confronted and questioned the guy, who completely denied saying anything inappropriate and claimed he only said, as a joke, the baby was too cute to be my husband's. But others in the office confirmed the first coworker's account. Not only that, the guy had tried to parlay his superior perception skills into some weird form of workplace clout. Fortunately, the guy got moved to a different shift that same week, so my husband didn't have to see him again. That is, until a company event this past weekend. Families were invited, and we took our son. And who should come and insert himself into our group as we were chatting with the boss but Brown Noser McMouth. He interrupted our conversation and introduced himself to the boss, shaking his hand. When I realized who he was, my anger came flooding back, and I said, I don't believe we've met, but aren't you the guy who went around telling everyone in the office I must have cheated on my husband with a white or Asian man, and this couldn't be his son? The guy went red and silent. Boss said to him, see me in my office first thing Monday, and walked away. I think someone's fired. My husband said I went too far because it was already over and done with. I said it wasn't done for me until I had my say, and I was the only one being defamed, not him. Am I the a-hole? I mean, your husband was being defamed a little bit, but that's not the point here. Hey, listen, don't let it come out of your mouth unless you're willing to fucking take accountability for it, all right? I'll say it, bro deserved that, not the a-hole. If you want to spread rumors around your co-working space, like, expect it to bite you in the ass if you're spreading false rumors. You could have just shut the fuck up. Maybe this will be a good educational moment for him. Not the a-hole, this is fuck around and find out exactly. I mean, she just confronted him. Could she have confronted him not when the boss is there? Sure. But also, I think the boss should know. If there's some asshole going around spreading rumors about another coworker, that like, even if it's true, shut the fuck up. That's not your place. Especially as a new coworker, like, I wouldn't want this guy representing the company I own ever. Like, just clock in, do your job, and if you want to gossip, leave that to your friend group. Quick little update to Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my husband's coworker for embarrassing me and my husband? The response to my post was overwhelming yesterday, and I was only able to read a few replies, enough to surmise that I was not the a-hole in the scenario. A big thanks to all who took the time to weigh in. As for the fallout, Brown Noser McMouth didn't get fired yesterday. They didn't have to fire him because he didn't show up for work. At some point between Saturday afternoon and Monday morning, he cleared out his cubicle and left his badge and company phone on the desk. I'm trying not to feel guilty by telling myself he learned a valuable life lesson and will probably be a new and improved version of himself wherever he lands. Easy, clean, guy deserved it if you remember the story. Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my stepmom at dinner after she tried to teach me a lesson about my real mom? Advice needed. I, 18 female, live with my dad and my stepmom, 43 female. My mom passed away when I was 10, and it's still a sensitive subject for me. My stepmom came into the picture a couple of years later, and while we're civil, we're definitely not close. She's always had this weird vibe, like she's trying to compete with my mom, even though my mom isn't here. She always gets snippy when I talk about her or wear anything that belonged to her, like my mom's old necklace I wear basically every day. Anyway, a few nights ago, we were out for dinner with my dad, stepmom, and her parents. Her mom asked about the necklace, and I said, it was my mom's. She gave it to me before she passed. I wear it every day. Stepmom immediately cut in with, well, technically, I'm your mom now. I've done more mothering in the last 8 years than she did in 10. I swear the whole table went silent. I just laughed and said, if you think being a mom is about trying to erase the actual one, then yeah, you've been amazing. She looked like she'd been slapped. Her mom gasped. My dad told me to apologize, but I refused. I said I was tired of her acting like my mom never existed, and I wasn't going to play along anymore. Now my stepmom is barely speaking to me, and my dad says I need to be the bigger person because she's just trying to connect. She's fucking 43. Also, what did fucking dog shit dad? Honestly, I blame the dad more than anybody in the story for bringing this absolutely dumb bitch into OP's life. But to me, that didn't feel like connection. It felt like erasure. Am I the a-hole for calling her out in front of everyone? Nah, bro, fuck her. I think you need to sit down with the dad and be like, this woman is not it. She is actively disrespecting the fuck out of the memory of your previous wife and disrespecting your daughter. That, to me, is the definition of a dog shit dad. This stepmom would have been dropped 8 years ago, bro. I get it, like, everybody wants to find love, but if there are kids in the equation and the person that you love is being a dog shit person to your kid, you need to get rid of him. That's not even a question. The stepmom sucks, she's an a-hole, but the dad is a fucking douche. On track to having no contact with this kid.